So I did my essay on the film Gattaca, which was released in 1997 and is about human enhancement. So what the basic theme is, you're either valid or non-valid. When you're non-valid, you were conceived naturally and fate decided your genes and any issues you might have, whereas being a valid, your genes were chosen by geneticists, not genetically altered per se, as much as the characteristics were handpicked from your parents. So the tagline for the movie is that there's no gene for the human spirit, because oftentimes the non-valids are conceived as lesser or lower social status, and the main character, Vincent, is a non-valid, where all he wants to do is go to space. But because he's a non-valid, he's not even considered, regardless of the fact that he's smart enough and physically capable. So he assumes the identity of a paralyzed valid named Jerome. And basically, as soon as he becomes a valid, all of a sudden, all of his barriers are taken away, and he's more or less able to do what he was never able to do. So the movie brings up the idea of genonism, where you go into an interview, you give a blood sample, you're not valid, you're done for, no matter whether you were intelligent or whether you're physically capable of doing it, they didn't want you. And inequality begets inequality because, as you saw in the movie, Vincent was not allowed to go to school because the school couldn't insure him because of his heart defect. And because he couldn't go to school, it propagates the image that non-valids aren't as educated, therefore not as intelligent, therefore only capable to do menial jobs. So that is one of the major inequalities that was brought up in the movie, about how as soon as you become genetically altered or genetically chosen, you become a higher status. Another theme I looked into in my paper was how society was creating superior humans and the role that parents had in basically choosing the fate of their children. So right now, you're born, fate has dictated your genes, obviously from your parents, but they didn't get to choose what they gave to you. In this world, they're choosing. They're choosing for you to be a superior athlete, to be a superior mind, to basically be anything. And there was a lot of worry about how you're basically choosing the fate of your child without their consent. Now, today's world, your parents can push you to swimming, they can push you to track and field, but they can't make you physically better for it. And this is kind of what happened in Gattaca. They started to make a society where you were superior, where all the expectations of the enhanced people were enhanced. And that played a main theme with the main character, Jerome, because he was meant to win the swim race. He was meant to get a gold medal, but he came second. And what he said happened afterwards was that he became drunk because of his failure, and he walked in front of a car and got hit and got paralyzed. But he later admits that it wasn't an accident. Because of his failure, because of his sense that he disappointed, he became depressed, and it was actually an attempt of suicide. So what Gattaca is showing, that you can create superior humans, superior physically, but no amount of gene alteration or gene choosing allowed Jerome to avoid becoming an alcoholic or to avoid becoming depressed. And this superior sense only leads to greater expectations, and not everyone can be a winner. Gattaca is kind of playing up a lot of these fears because it's trying to be a cautionary tale of what could happen. And a lot of critics think that they have gone too far, that they're fear-mongering more than criticizing what could happen. But some other geneticists say, yeah, this could happen. And that's why I think Gattaca is really good at being a cautionary tale, because it shows you what could happen if we take it too far, and how, as Pandora's box, once it becomes intrinsic in society, we can't take it out anymore. Gattaca will never go back to being non-valid because of the failure and the sense of defects, and how it would basically break society because they're so used to being upper tier human enhanced individuals.